So you have the perfect idea and maybe even a great prompt, and now you want to take the next step in order to impress your friends or colleagues at work and build that prototype, build that website that's going to get you promoted or maybe just have a friend smile. My name is Harry. I'm the head of design at one of Europe's biggest education companies, and in my free time I've built over 50 apps and thousands more features and designs over the past years. And now I want to show you a bit some of the stuff that's worked for me. I'm not getting paid, by the way, for any of this, sadly. I just think that these tools are kind of magical and they have changed in many ways the way that I think. And if I can just nudge you in the right direction and maybe take you by the hand in those initial first steps, that is great for me. And by the way, if you have any ideas on how to do any of this better, feel free to comment and let me know. That being said, let's get into it. We have the perfect prompt and we have tried it in a Figma Make, which is the easiest way to get started. If you haven't seen those videos, by the way, have a look. I've linked them below. But just to recap, what we're doing here is that we're building a super simple app, a pasta cooking timer, and we'll be building it in different tools, starting from the easiest, which was the last video, Figma Make, to more advanced ones, more capable ones, and even end up migrating away from websites into building an actual iPhone app and even a Mac OS app. For this video, we're going to be focusing on Lovable. I like many of the things that they're doing. They have these templates. To be honest, they're not my favorite ones. Many of them have some slight bugs, and visually I think they're not the most impressive. If you're looking for inspiration in terms of templates, I would rather go to places like Framer, which is a no-code website builder, because they have even better and more impressive designs that you can then get inspired from. But that being said, let's get started. I'll quickly log in. By the way, I haven't done this before, so I haven't been using Lovable in a while. And if you want to try it out, these are basically the exact same steps that you'll have to go through as well. So I'll share all of my informations, at least like the bare minimum that they need. Sure, I'll go with light mode. Yes, that is my name. Ooh, I like the audio feedback. It's like a heartbeat. Very nice. I am product designer. Could have said something else. Solo. Okay, let's see. Then similar UI. I'll just collapse this and paste the exact same prompt that I gave Figma Make in the last video. And let's see what Lovable in turn comes up with. I like how they actually use all of the available space at the beginning because there's nothing yet to show. And interestingly enough, it's asking you a couple of questions to better understand what it is that you actually want. So I mentioned vanilla JavaScript. Sure, React is fine. Who are you building for? Myself. Well, maybe friends and family, if it's good. Let's see. Okay, it's a summary basically of what I said, which is quite nice. And everything else that's no longer relevant moves out of content. Okay, so this is actually a plan. This is very similar to what Claude Code, for instance, would do. It asks you a couple of clarifying questions and then summarizes the plan to you without modifying much, to be honest. I would normally read through it and check if everything is correct. I can't modify it here, so I'd have to go back and forth in the chat, which is, I guess, fine. And then I just click on implement the plan. Let's see what happens. And I really like this, by the way. It's a very neatly implemented carousel. So while we wait, it actually explains you exactly what it is that they do. Okay, so they do full apps. They do the data part, which is oftentimes the trickier part of building apps. If you need some place to store information, maybe even across different devices, that becomes a bit trickier. They publish the website for you, which is, to be honest, not super complex. You can add it visually. That is quite nice. I'll see how that looks. I can revert and edit messages. That is something also quite common. Oftentimes you will write follow-up prompts to modify it and then realize, actually that was not a good idea. And being able to go back is very important. which is why down the line we'll use something like Git. But for now, let's see what they did. I'll not publish it just yet. So it looks, in my opinion, a tiny bit better than the Figma Make one. At least there's a nice hover state. The way that the buttons are arranged is a bit better, in my opinion. Maybe the color scheme wasn't the best, to be honest, but it works decently. I can see what it looks like on tablet, on phone. It looks fine. I'll publish it. And by the way, I'll publish the links to all of the prototypes that we'll be building at the end of the summary video. So you'll be able to compare what actually came out of all of the different tools and pick for you what you felt was the tool that spoke to you most and where you enjoyed the results the most. So now we built a very first simple version of this cooking timer using our very detailed prompt, giving Lovable very little space to be creative in. Now let's try something else. Let's try our much shorter prompt and see what exactly it comes up with. And actually you can even set a theme. Now let's go with this one. Plan and go. I could have done without the planning phase, but in this case, it's so broad, I think it's helpful to have Lovable ask questions to clarify our thinking and help it make better decisions. On top of it being useful to the model, it's often very useful to me just to think about new aspects of the question I'm trying to solve, of the problem I'm trying to solve, explore different routes, maybe. So let's see what kind of a plan it comes up with. It's going to be a standard React Tailwind ShadCN UI setup. ShadCN, by the way, is a very neat website. You can have a look. I'll link it below. It allows you to basically use pre-built components for buttons and FAQ sections and whatever else that you can use to make your website look quite nice from the get-go. So this is the plan, color palette, features, implementation steps. Okay. Update the design system, create a timer component, build a timer display. I wonder if it's actually updating the previous app that we had or building it from scratch, but let's see. I'll just say, yes, let's go. I like how it has a visual preview, even in this markdown format. So large glowing digits, you'll see the preset buttons here. Simple way to decrease and add. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Technical details. Sounds fine. I'll approve it. If you ask me if you can only afford like one subscription to play around with, depending on your level and what you want to build, I would either go with Figma because it gives you, on top of the Figma Make tool, which is decent, it gives you access to Figma and FigJam, which is great for planning, and Figma Slides as well. So that's my preferred go-to. Lovable is a good option, but personally, if you are willing to take an extra step, I would go and spend those 25 or 50, however much you want to put into this. I would spend it rather on Cursor or maybe even on Cloud Code. That being said, let's see what it does. It's going to implement all of it. What is it doing? Okay, so it's done. It even took a screenshot of the app. And I think this looks quite a bit better. But now you see the difference between the before and the after. The before being very constrained because of our very detailed prompt, and this one being a much more out there, wild approach to it. Apparently there was some issues with the toast, but it will fix it in a second, and I'm guessing that we'll be able to see the updated version. By the way, this often happens that as you fix things or as you have different AI tools fix things, your website will break, and oftentimes the error messages are displayed in a very intimidating format. But don't be discouraged, just let the AI do its thing. And whenever you have an error message that stays there, just give it back to the AI and see if it's able to solve it. So now let's just test it out. Okay, you can add 30-second increments and just start it. Okay, wow, that's a very disco-y approach to it. Wouldn't be my personal favorite. Also, the golden gradient is not my personal favorite, but it is more exciting than this version, that's for sure. That being said, let's move on to the next step in our process of going from the simplest way of building an app to the most advanced one, and have a look at Cursor in the next video.